Hi, I'm Elijah, and welcome to October, which I call it the Week of Creeps and Jeeps. And since we're on the spooky night of the year, I think it's time we have the talk. Now calm down, we ain't having that type of talk. This is something along the lines with the anime community. With that said, fan service.
Anime.
I like it, but yet I still don't get it.
As I stated in a previous video about a certain seasonal anime that I wish I did not make a video about and I want this thing to burn to the ground, I said that I was into anime, got out, and then rebounded. What I forgot to touch upon was that the rebound made me look back on some animes that were, by today's standard, ass old, and are actually ass old anime. So basically, I was watching whatever was barfed out pre and after my birth. And I also noticed that most of the animes at that time were harems. Harem animes are when a group of females, or males, form around the protagonist that are either A, overpowered, B, bland as hell, C, the more interesting option as hell, or D, all of the above. Most go with D, no pun intended. Now, I don't dislike harem animes, as some of my favorite animes are harems. They tell great stories in 12 episodes or in 4 seasons, but my main problem is what keeps people running back to them or scaring newcomers away. Fan service, something to ensure people to see something or stay watching. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's okay when it's done right. Almost anything could be fan service, like with Spider-Man No Way Home with the villains and Spider-Mans. But when people say fan service, most weebs, or anime enthusiasts as we call them, see it as when a girl applies any of these assets in front of the protagonist. Pun entirely intended. What once was, whoa, that lady looks hot with that prerogative and weird-ass clothing, to, damn it, now I don't want jello. Fanservice is also known for taking away from the story in favor of some sexy time. Most animes have done that, with some just being made for fanservice, but one did so that the manga and anime look different from each other. Rosario plus Vampire, or Rosario and Vampire, or is it just Rosario Vampire?
Yes!
The manga centered around an average teenager accidentally enrolling into a school of monsters and befriending a vampire may sound like a recipe for hijinks, which can happen, but it's more than that. Created by Akashi Ikide, I am so sorry if I actually pronounced that wrong, but I will try. The manga was serialized in Monthly Shonen Jump in 2004 to 2007, which ended up getting a sequel, which they are both far cries from the anime. The manga took inspiration from Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands and The Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, there is some comedy to be found, and there is fan service, but not in the way that the anime does it. It was dark, sentimental, and it looks interesting. I want to be invested in this. So what the hell happened with these two? Well, let's take a look. The story starts with our main character, Tsukune Aino, who is unable to go to any local high schools because he failed his entrance exam. As a last-ditch effort, his parents secured him an enrollment form, more or less his dad stole it from a drunk, and it was to a boarding school called Yokai Academy. As he leaves the bus and walks through this field, you know what, how about I put a little tangent here and just talk about the art? I mean, the art's okay. I mean, it's nothing brag-worthy, okay? And the animation is kind of alright, because, I mean, you know what's about to go down. After a little comedy happens, we then squeeze thighs with the female lead. This is Moka Akashiya, who is a vampire, as shown as she says this to Tsukune before biting him on the neck from his human scent. You might want to save that human part of that phrase I said later, because it's essential. We then make it to Yokai Academy, which is a school for monsters where they learn how to blend in with other humans, which seems pretty simple for Tsukune, as one of the rules are monsters have to retain their human forms on Academy grounds. Except, there is another rule that if a human somehow gets through the school's protected barrier, which kind of was explained. Okay, so the school is protected by a barrier, which is practically its own pocket dimension from the outside world. And, well, most humans can't get through that. But if by coincidence, if a human actually does manage to get in there, they're given the old 6 feet under treatment on sight. So Tsukune just has to lay low and not be put on the spot constantly, right? But remember, this is a harem anime. So Moka's in Tsukune's class and she's the hottest thing in there since sliced bread, and jealousy ensues. We then learn from the magic of late 2000s fan service that the rosary on Moka's neck locks her true personality and power, and she can't take it off.
What, did you expect it to be like those animes? Please, we have standards.
Mocha then also has a distrust with humans as she was shunned away from her peers back in middle school. And then Skune decides to go balls on the wall and expose himself to her and tells her that he's gonna leave the school, where Mocha tries to stop him. But then this dude from before can't handle his jelly and almost does something to Mocha. But then here comes Skune running back to save her, but gets destroyed and nearly faints while accidentally removing her rosary, where she then transforms into her true self and then one-shots the bully, with 2000's fan service.
Again, we have standards.
And that, my friends, is where we start our adventure, with Skune deciding to stay and making new friends from a succubus named Kuruma Kuruno, a young witch prodigy named Yukari Sendo, a Yukiona named Mizori Shirayuki, and another witch named Ruby Tojo, and Mocha's half-sister Koko Shuzen. I am doing so poorly in my Japanese names. Like, do I have to take classes? Like, should I take classes? I should take classes, right? Damn it, Noah, just tell me! Like, Noah, do not give me hand gestures. I don't want hand gestures. Say it with your mouth, damn it. I meant, like, speak actual words, dude. Like, tell me, like, I need Japanese lessons. Beep. No, just say you need Japanese. Just say you need Japanese lessons. Just say it. Just say it. Just say it. No, just say it. Say it. No, just say you need Japanese lessons. No, just say it. Come. Say it with your chest. Just say
Japanese lessons.
You ain't gotta tell me! Some elements from the manga made their way with a few things added and changed. Some range from introducing characters early on and others cutting content or moving them to the end of season 1, like Ghoul Skune, who was infused with Mocha's vampire blood where he goes full on out of control, but that was all pushed back for old sex time over here. Also, the comedy here is ramped up to 11. There was some comedy in the manga, but it wasn't as big as what the anime is doing, so that and fan service.
I understand that most manga to anime adaptations, that some things need to be added and changed to hit the 12 episode mark, but surely they could have made 24 episodes or at least a season 2. You bet they did!
However, almost nothing from the second season is remotely similar to the manga, which is fine as there was only one volume of the second manga series already made. Animes will sometimes do filler episodes when they're working on a manga that's already existing, or the next chapter hasn't been released yet. However, with this anime, there was enough stories from the first manga that they could have squeezed in here, but they chose the filler route and decided to squeeze more of this sex stuff, while this not making any sense whatsoever. I always thought, why couldn't they just use half of the manga for the first season and the other half for season 2? I mean, Irma did this, why couldn't they? And that's the problem with the anime, and most other animes like this, the pacing. You just don't have to cram an entire volume of a manga into 12 episodes. Some things happen way too fast and other things happen too slow. Like one, you went to a skiing trip and now you're home just for visiting. Make that make sense.
It's like I have a game and I'm struggling with it and I go, oh, this isn't so hard, but then I just realize I just changed the difficult settings.
Rosario plus Vampire is a how not to do an anime adaptation. They had a chance to make this story this chilling Tim Burton-esque anime with some drama and action, but they decided to focus on what looked appealing to the audience instead of what actually is appealing, that being the more interesting story. They take that away and add more fan service and comedy to make it its own thing, some cheesy rom-com which comes off as weird. Sure, there are some comedy in the manga, but that's not all what it was. Also, the fan service here is out of control. I mean, I don't even have enough fingers to count how many panty shots I've seen. You could deadass make that an entire drinking game, like take a bottle of Hennessy and take a shot every time you see someone's panties. I would say that's all she wrote, but there is a turnaround and something a few animes have done. What Rosario plus Vampire needs now, or anytime this comes out, a remake to the anime that is accurate to the manga as possible. Focus more on the stories and characters, and less of the over-the-top comedy and fan service. And frankly, this should happen. If Hunter x Hunter, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and Fullmetal Alchemist respectively can be remade close to the original source material, why couldn't this? Because I'm telling you, like, what I've seen in the manga, this has to be animated in some way or another. If Urusei Yatsura, an anime from the 80s based on a manga from the 70s, can have a remake that came out last year and is getting a season 2, I see no problem on why this can't get a remake.
The anime's fine for anyone who has no knowledge of the manga and are just looking for a comedy and, oh, this girl's constantly pressing her chest on me constantly for 24/7. But for manga readers, this was a special kick in the groin for them, as they kinda did expected something similar to the manga. As someone who watched the anime first for guilty pleasure and then read the manga, I'm more in favor for the manga, and a remake at less. And for those who are skeptical, I say just read the manga. I mean, it's a better story than Twilight.
Congratulations, you have witnessed 0 shits given to Twilight.